Do you know what time it is?
Welcome to the Legacy of Nerd. My name is Daniel, and today we are here of the highly anticipated Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Return, issue number 2. We're finally doing the review for this one. Just came out today. Oh my God, this issue was insane. But I also want to introduce my teammate here, Retro Ray.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back to always talk about Power Rangers. You gotta love it.
Dude, this is so good. I am so hyped from this issue. Now, before we get started, I do want to say this is going to be full spoilers. So we are going to talk in depth and in detail about this comic book. So if you do not want to be spoiled, this is your time to maybe watch it at a later date. But as of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're going full spoilers. Before we get to that, we want to thank our sponsor, Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, Dragons Lair Animal Ranch. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do these comic reviews. They're a great comic book shop if you want to go to just for comics, but not even this for that. You can get Pokemon cards, Magic cards, so much stuff that they're doing, even some cool events that we'll probably be announcing shortly that you're going to want to listen to.
Full review. Okay, we're going to do a quick breakdown, and then me and Ray are going to discuss. So this issue is all pretty much flashback. This is what happened 22 years ago, what happened on the moon and everything that went down when they went to go attack Rita and Zedd. So it starts off, Rita and Zedd are celebrating that they just destroyed Zordon and Alpha, that they're just kind of being like their kooky kind of comedic selves that we are used to from the later seasons of Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And then they get notified that the Rangers are there and they're attacking. And we don't see Megazord, but we see Tyrannosaurus, Mastodon, Triceratops, and Saber-tooth Tiger are attacking the moon, and they are being attacked by monsters. Like literally every monster in season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is there on the battlefield, including like hundreds and hundreds of putties. And they're attacking, and they're saying, oh my God, there's so many. And Jason's like, don't worry, we just need to hold off long enough for Kimberly and Tommy. Then we see that Kimberly and Tommy have raided the palace. By the way, one little good detail, if you look in the really like kind of small corner, it does say Bandora's Palace, kind of a throwback to the show, but not only that, a throwback to the Super Sentai Jew Ranger, where Rita, the character, was actually named Bandora. But we see Tommy and Kimberly, they're running through the palace. They're trying to find somewhere to lay a big explosive thingy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the B word on here, but they're laying one of those, and they're explaining that this specific one is almost like of the Z wave that happened in Power Rangers in Space. What it's going to do, it's going to release a wave of good energy, and it's going to cleanse all the bad. So they're looking for a room, and then Tommy finds what looks like their bedroom. So they're laying down the explosive, ready to go. Rita comes in, is like, what are you guys doing there? And then they go on full on fight with Tommy and Kimberly and Rita, but mostly Tommy versus Rita. Rita even makes a point like, I'm even impressed that you're actually trying to end me this time. And he's like, no, I'm trying to cleanse you. And she's like, of course, you would never do what was needed, right? And Kimberly's there, and then but Tommy's like clearly getting like overpowered. He's already got hit hard one time by one of Rita's spells. She's ready to do like, the kill blow, and then we just see a pink energy arrow through Rita's chest, and we're just like, Kimberly just shot her from behind, from the back, and then they make the sound too, like whoomp, and so like Rita just falls over, is gone. We see like this face of Squat, and he just looks horrified that just happened. Kimberly is crying; she can't believe what she just did. The other 4 Rangers are still on the moon. They're battling. They're losing. Their Zords are getting hit hard, torn apart pieces, and they're just yelling, "Are you guys ready? You ready?" And Kimberly and Tommy are talking, and one thing that Kimberly shows is her wedding ring. She shows like we till death do us part, and Tommy's like, I gotta throw off this explosive because it got damaged in the fight. Crying, and he's like, you know why you can't do this? And she's like, I know. And it's like, we made a promise. Like, if things got dangerous, you would have to leave immediately. She's like, I know, but I just don't want to. And there's like a really touching scene between them. So they're like, it's time. So you see the 4 Rangers in the battlefield, they like abandon their Zords and they just transport out. Kimberly transport out. The 5 of them land in the command center, and then they see the moon explode. The 4 behind her are celebrating. Kimberly's out in front on her knees. She's just bawling, and then Jason's like, where's Tommy? Then we get to the very end, and it's Kimberly telling this story to Selena. because Selena is Trini's cousin, right? Well, I don't know. Apparently, something's going on because Selena was like, I want to be the new Power Ranger. And Kimberly's like, no, you can't. In fact, let me take my morpher and put it with mine. And Selena was like, oh my God, that's your morpher. And Kimberly's like, yeah, here, look at it. No big deal. Here's like one of the most powerful weapons in the universe. Just hold it. And she's like, ha ha ha. And then she turns into like this evil being that looks very similar to Rita, but very much younger. She takes out Kimberly, takes out her morpher. And then the last page we see, we see a green Charger like car roll up, and it's Olivia Hart going, "Mom, where are you?" And there's nobody there. So that's the preview of the comic. Now we need to discuss it because so much stuff happened in this comic, which we kind Retro Ray, we kind of talked about that in the last, like they were gonna have to fit in a lot of story in this comic because it's a 4-issue series. So what are your initial thoughts of the comic book?
Well, for one, from taking it in, so much is going on at once. Like one of the things that really popped in my head is when Tommy and Kimberly, and she goes, "You made a promise." Now I'm kind of thinking about the whole, they know she's pregnant, and that the deal they made was if things got crazy, she needed to leave, and he was going to take care of what needed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And so that's what I got from there. But the
It's a
most of all,
really touching scene between them two. Like what,
yeah,
and it was really emotional, especially for a comic book to see that. And I feel like that is the most emotion because Power Rangers was a kids show on a
yeah,
kids channel at a kids time, right? So they weren't allowed to do kissing. They barely could do like holding hands, right?
yeah,
And we see this moment where like I love you, like a really like a bonding scene between Tommy and Kimberly, which we have never really had. Like very very little like that serious and really in depth, and I think it's almost the quintessential image of Tommy and Kimberly of their love with one another, because
yeah,
obviously the main series she dumped him and he got with Catherine, but this series again, like this is not, it never happened. So I thought that was really emotional as well, and it was I something about it was just like so like it was like non-Power Rangers at the same time. It was like everything that we had been wanting at the same time. You know what I mean? So as
yeah.
far as that relationship goes, um, what are some things that you thought about the battle itself? What did you think?
So when I was okay, so I don't know how you read your comics. So before I read, I glance at the pages.
Oh,
So
I
I go
don't.
from, yeah, you see, I before I
Yeah.
read, I glance from top to bottom. I take in what I'm about to read, and I go, look at all the photos, look at the artwork, the
Yeah.
details. Then I'll start reading, because then that gives me a picture in my imagination that I've just taken in the photos, the artwork, and as I'm reading it, I'm just popping from bubble to bubble. But I'm already in my head. I have what I already pictured, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm seeing all this, so me being a TV buff, I got that feel of Armageddon, the movie.
Yeah. I can see
You
that.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I'm reading this and I see the detonator get destroyed, so they can no longer do it remotely, he has to stay behind and make that trigger. It kind of gave me that Armageddon feel where it was Bruce Willis
Yep.
and Ben Affleck's character, but it was reversed. Of course, we have Kimberly and we have Tommy.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, no, they're not going to do this. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a comic. I thought Tommy was going to die a different way. I thought Rita was actually going to kill him because they had just
Oh,
killed, Alpha and, you know, um, Zordon. So
yeah.
I thought that's where it was going to go. I didn't see this part coming, but there's more stuff that I took in as well. And then we talked about it as well. I'll let you go get your thoughts right now. But yeah, that's what I took from all that. You know what I mean?
One thing that really stood out to me in this issue as a whole is I feel like the art in this issue is, and not to say the art was bad in the first issue, but this was like grades higher quality than what we got in the last issue. I don't know if it's the poppiness of the colors. It just seems so much more crisp and clear. I'm looking at the Lord Zedd picture here. I'm looking at the Zords of Mastodon, Tyrannosaurus, the colors, but the Rangers themselves in the cockpits, I mean, they almost just
Yeah.
look like they're popping off the page, like the actual images of the Rangers themselves. It's I have to say it's like immensely big. Like even looking at the Green Ranger's shield, the way it pops off his costume, it's the art in this one is just so good. And I think one of the best artworks I've seen in any Power Rangers work. As far as comic book wise, like it is that good quality. Like they could pop the Rangers out of any of these pages and make them a cover. I feel like that is so good. Kind of going back to the beginning a little bit with the monsters. Like I was telling you before we started the review, like this, the monsters at the very beginning of the episode was just like a real normal Power Rangers episodes, kind of like
Yeah.
jokey, monsters, they're celebrating, obviously they just ended, Alpha and Zordon, but like they're kind of making little jokes here and there. And then we see the Rangers come and attack. But one thing that stood out to me is like it keeps on getting like more serious and serious. Um, I noticed it when I was watching or when I was reading the comic book. You know, Rita says like she has to go get someone. Someone needs to see this. So I thought that was Squat. And one thing I said that Tommy and Kimberly were laying the explosive down in the bedroom. Well, when Rita initially walks into the bedroom, she says these words. She says, "Wakey, wakey, my little what?" And then she sees the Power Rangers. So she was saying, "Wakey, wakey, my little." I think that very much insinuates there was a child in that room. When I read that, I did read that, and I was like, they have a child. They have a secret child that is living there, right? So that's one thing that came to mind while I was reading this, and I read opposite than you, so I don't glance. Like I look at each panel and I study the art, then I read it. I don't look at the whole page, so I look at by panel, right?
Yeah.
And this one, and I'm because we talked about like they had to fit so much story into this that these there was a lot of panels in this. Like each
Oh
page
yeah.
had like 8 panels, so they were packing a lot of story in this. Then we get to the end. Obviously, like our big question coming into this story is, okay, before we get to that, Tommy's fall, the fall of Tommy Oliver, right? I kind of thought that he would lose in a battle as well, like whether it be Zed or Rita or something, right? To learn that he basically sacrificed so that they could win, you know, that like the hero's ending, like I think that that's just so much. I don't think you could write it any better than that. Like I think that is
No.
perfect for the character. um I have questions now, but if that is truly the end of Tommy Oliver, that is a great ending for Tommy Oliver in this universe. Then we get to this Selena imposter. Like, what's going on, dude? Like, what do you think about? Is this Selena? Is this Rita's daughter? Is this like Rita
Well,
reincarnated? Like, what is going on? What is in your head about this?
if okay, so if it is Rita's daughter, there's two things that need to be explained, and hopefully it's going to be explained in the next issue. One, how did the child get off the planet before the explosion?
True.
Who took the child?
Who raised the
Because
child? Yeah.
yeah, who raised the child? So possibly was it Tommy? But even that, why would Tommy hide
Right.
if he had taken that child? So we got to figure out who took the child and what happened between there to there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because she's around the same age to me. I'm just hypothetically thinking out there. I think she's the same age as Amy Jo's child, you know?
She should
Um,
be. Yeah.
yeah,
Or
they
a
should be.
little
I
bit
think,
older. A little bit
yeah,
older.
so they'd be around the same age.
Yeah.
So okay. This is me thinking out loud. So Marvel's going Young Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this is just supposed to be a 4-issue series. Now, dude, that's too much. We got 2 more issues after
I
this.
know.
How are you gonna fit all that in these next 2 issues?
Yeah.
Unless now this is me thinking out in left field. What if they're leading up to the young children taking over the Rangers, mind you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The new two, how can I put it? Okay, so you saw the Miss Marvels. You saw how Miss Marvel went to go get, the Hawkeye female
Yep.
character
Yep.
and slowly grabbing one by one.
Yeah.
New Green Ranger, start building the Rangers up again. They got a
Yeah.
new threat, which is, let's say this, this is the new Rita,
Yeah.
our version of her. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just thinking out loud. But I mean, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is, so I immediately saw the white hair and I was like, is that Rita herself? You know what I mean? But the facial features are a lot more younger.
Yeah,
She just looks younger and more like energetic. I'm thinking the white hair is a consequence of using the witch magic that Rita uses.
yeah,
I think if you're a witch, you have white hair in this universe, right? I think my thought is if the child was saved, if there was, this is the child of Rita and Zedd, and the child was saved, Finster, Squat, Babu, they could have all raised it because she's obviously being raised to hate the Power Rangers, right?
Yes.
So I'm thinking that if she is the child, there, she has been cultivated for this project, right? She has Rita's staff, like she's asking a lot, like, did you enjoy killing Rita, this and that, like
Yeah.
she's like, that's what her thinking is of the Rangers. And obviously Kimberly didn't enjoy it. She didn't mean to really do it. She was trying to save Tommy. But if they're leading to, so I see what you're saying, like, could this story be the jumping off point for like maybe a new story that is bringing in younger Rangers to continue on the legacy? And I think the number one question I get about this series is this series going to lead to a new ongoing series? And it's possible, like, this universe could go on, like this could be the ultimate line of the
Yes.
comic book universe, of the Power Ranger comic book universe, right? But I don't see Amy Jo Johnson continuing past this story. I see if this universe is going to continue on, it's going to continue on through a different author. Maybe Matt Hodson may take it on,
Yeah.
solo, but I don't see Amy Jo doing any more with Power Rangers after this. It could very well lead to a new story. See, I thought I'd be more inclined to think that if Selena ended up being Selena and becoming the new Yellow Ranger. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
we already have like 1/3 of the team. Now we just have Olivia. So um the question is, in this universe, after this threat is taken care of, is the world going to still need the Power Ranger team? And that's because they kind of addressed it. Like, there hasn't been Power Rangers because there's been no need for Power Rangers. But if there's a
Yeah.
need now, if there continues to be a need, then yeah, I can see this story going on in there, them passing on the mantles. I mean, obviously, I don't think it would necessarily be the children of any other Power Ranger, because it doesn't seem like any of them had children besides Kimberly and Tommy. So it could be, Olivia Hart leading a new team, but it'd be all new characters, and kind of like she be the tether to the former legacy. But
Yeah.
um, as the comic itself, like I said, we have 4 issues and we have so much story to get through, because I thought this story was I almost feel like they should have put more of Selena's story, or whoever this person is, in this comic. So when we get to Olivia, we can do Olivia's short story, because really she doesn't have much of a story until now, right? Like, she's just been in hiding. And then we can start the story at issue, 2.5 issues in, like get to what's going on, and start leading to the finale. But I just don't think there's enough issues for this. I think this needed like a full, at least 6 issues if we're
Yeah.
going. But at
I
the same
agree.
time, like we said, there's so many panels on each page. Like, there's a lot of story, and this is what, a 25-page comic book. Like, oh man, it just feels like we're going so fast. But I think this comic book was a amazing follow-up to issue 1. I really enjoyed it. I just don't know how we're going to get to everywhere we need to get in 4 issues.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, well, the next issue, it says here, next issue, daughter issue. So I think that's going to be. But the thing
Selena and
is, like, okay,
Olivia.
yeah. Well, the thing is, okay, are we going to get a flashback? You know, the day of the birth, then maybe jump to her current age. There's so much questions, so many questions.
Yeah.
But the thing that really got me, this is just for me, and of course us as JDF fans, seeing that top page of the car and the door opening, dude. I don't know, man, but I got goosebumps when I saw that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being a JDF fan and knowing that's the kind of car he would drive different cars, and
Yeah.
and his, it's just, I don't know, it's just what I took from it. But Matt and Amy are doing a great job. Even if,
Yeah.
mind you, this could be the build. They're building the universe. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, that doesn't mean that they have to continue it like Amy Jo. But you think about it. If Matt were to keep it, who's going to go for help? He's got, that's his girlfriend. You know what I mean? Hey,
Yeah.
what do you think? Should
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
this? Should I do that? He has that right there, at his disposal to ask, what do you think? And feed off of that. So this is the thing. I've communicated with Matt on Twitter and talked with him, and he's a comic book fan. And I even, so me talking back and forth with him, I asked him, I can't wait to get you on the show because I want to pick your brain. I want to know what comics you read on top of you writing Power Rangers. Because as a writer, And if you're a fan, that's the best part, because when you're reading a story like, Superman or Batman or whatever, you're seeing something and you're like, man, they should have done this, they should have done that.
Yeah.
Now you're a writer and now you're writing Power Rangers. Now stuff that you thought should have been done here, you can do here. Dude, that to me, that's the best part, when you have people who care about what they're writing, makes a big difference and makes you want to read it, compared to hiring somebody who doesn't know anything about this backstory, who
Yeah.
has to go back and read 2 graphic novels just to get an idea, and then they just continue the same story or feed off those 2 graphic novels they read, instead of
Yeah.
actually picking Easter eggs from the original stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's just how I see it from the comic world.
I mean, it's
But
always good when the creator is very passionate about what they're doing.
oh
Like
yeah.
that's there's nothing there's always a benefit of that, and it's always so it's going to come out more when you're reading whatever the art is, right, or whatever you're looking at as the art. But I completely agree with you. I am really curious now to see if this is going to be a jumping on point for an ongoing series, and if it isn't, that's okay too. And where this comic is going, I think it's really, really good. It doesn't look like this is Scorpina. So I know a lot of people were thinking that it might be a Scorpina. I have questions now whether Tommy Oliver actually passed away in this story, but I feel like the way that they had him go out, if that is the way he went out, then that was a really good ending. They probably shouldn't spoil that. But then again, if they have a good reason to bring him back, then that's a good too. But I liked everything about this. Like, this one just was really stood out to me. And I've been reading a lot of Power Ranger comics lately and catching up with the series. And this one is probably by far my favorite comic book that I have read in the last couple months. So, um, God, I can't even imagine what's going to happen in issue 3. Obviously, I think we're going to see them morph finally, but where the story is going, I just have no idea at this point. So, it doesn't have to be good either, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to have a cherry rose ending. So, with that being said, I think that's going to wrap up our review for issue 2. Of course, we are going to try to maybe work out some maybe appearances with artists or writers that are working on the Power Ranger comic books. And then obviously you can come back here and watch those as well. I will start covering the main series that is going through Darkest Hour right now. I'll start that in April. But as far as issue 3, can't wait. It's going to be soon enough. April will be here. We'll do those review again here with Retro Ray. We'll have a lot of fun. Guys, remember, we got NostalgiaCon coming up in May. And then they just announced More Phenomenal Expo coming up in early August here in San Antonio. They already booked SPD Red. They already booked Steve Cardenas, booked Trent White Dino Thunder Rangers. So already a great start for More Phenomenal Expo here in San Antonio. Guys, thank you for being here. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this comic. Did you think it was good? Did you not like it? What did you think about the pacing of the story? What did you think about the Battle on the Moon? And what do you think is going on? Is this in Selena? Is this Rita and Zedd's daughter? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And y'all know what time it is. It's Morphin time.